by culturally.
Sex. It's a normal function that has happened for thousands of years, since the beginning of time even. And as long as sex has been around, so has contraception. Through contraception, sex wasn't exclusively for baby making. As Carl Djerassi states, sex has become separated from its reproductive consequences. Taking a variety of forms and shapes, contraceptive actions have played a major role in our society. From banning it to enforcing it, history has changed its views on contraception multiple times.
You need to look back at history at the previous birth control methods. Contraception has played a prominent role throughout history, some early methods dating thousands of years ago. In the Old Testament, the first term used to describe contraception was coitus interruptus, also known as pulling out. In ancient Egypt, women used a combination of honey, sodium carbonate, and crocodile dung that they would grind into a paste and insert into themselves. In ancient China, concubines would make drinks with 1 part lead and 1 part mercury. This seemed to work, however, it produced some severe side effects. Some side effects included sterility, brain damage, kidney failure, and death. But hey, you couldn't have babies if you were dead. In the 10th century Persia, women were told to jump backwards 7 to 9 times, as those were deemed magical numbers. The amount of jumping was thought to dislodge the sperm. One most interesting form of birth control was from the Middle Ages. Women would tie the testicles of a weasel and tie it to their necks or around their thighs during intercourse. Women weren't the only ones trying various forms of contraception, however. The first form known for men using contraceptive methods was 15,000 years ago, in a cave drawing depicting a man wearing a condom made from a goat bladder. While each culture had their own methods, it was clear there was not a foolproof way of preventing pregnancy. That was until the early 1900s, when a determined nurse and activist launched a monthly newsletter. Margaret Sanger launched The Women Rebel in 1914. In it, she included information about birth control and challenged the country against its obscenity laws. The obscenity laws were due to the efforts of Anthony Comstock, who began a crusade against obscenity. His crusade eventually led to the Comstock Act in 1873, which banned the spread of information about contraceptives. Margaret Sanger constantly fought these laws and was indicted for breaching the laws. She fled the country but returned shortly after to open the first family planning clinic. She coined the phrase birth control and started the American Birth Control League, later known as Planned Parenthood. In 1951, she met Gregory Pincus, an endocrinologist whom she persuaded to work on the birth control pill. Also, at the same time, a chemist, Carl Djerassi, created a pill by synthesizing hormones from Mexican yams. However, he did not have the supplies to test, produce, or distribute it. A year later, Pincus tested the drug progesterone on rats, and it worked. Finally, after centuries of second-hand contraceptive methods, there was a method that was safe and could work. It would all be in vain without the efforts of biologist Catherine McCormick. Also a women's rights activist and heiress, she gave Pincus a check for $40,000 to continue conducting his research. In 1954, the first human trials began, and they worked. Large-scale production began within 2 years later, and they deemed that the pill was 100% effective. In 1957, the FDA approved the pill, but only for menstrual disorders. It wasn't until 1960 that it was approved for contraceptive use. Within 2 years, 1.2 million women were on the pill. While the pill was legal, many were denied. The pill was only available for married couples, thus barring the youth, singles, and minority communities like LGBT from using the pill. It wasn't until 1972 that the pill was legal for all. Today, the pill is used by 10.6 million women and continues to ensure healthy contraception for all. Another aspect of the pill was its role in the feminist movement and sexual revolution during 1940 to 1970. It advocated for women's rights beyond suffrage. However, there were debates about reproductive rights and whether women had a say. One iconic debate was the court case Roe v. Wade. In 1973, the Roe v. Wade case declared that a state law that banned abortions except to save the life of the mother was unconstitutional. During the time the court case was happening, many states restricted and banned the practice of abortion. After the case, those restrictions were challenged, especially due to the sexual revolution and feminist movements. It divided the nation and continues to inspire heated debates, politics, and violence. Some common debates were between liberals and conservatives. Conservatives believed that the pill and other forms of contraception were unnatural and evil. They believed it separated sex from marriage and reproduction, and they were cautious of the health risks. Liberals argued for the pill because it was a safe solution to unplanned pregnancy. Because of the pill and other forms of birth control, people could have sex for other reasons besides wanting children. Also, there are many health benefits for women on the pill. Some say it decreases acne and migraines. When on birth control, there's no longer the risk for unplanned pregnancy. This enables women to get and keep their jobs, complete their education, and support themselves financially until they're ready for a child. The pill is a reliable and important choice for women to be able to have.
The birth control pill provided women with more opportunity and choice over their bodies. Prior to the pill, if a woman got pregnant, she had to carry the baby to term. This meant she had to leave her job temporarily with an unpaid pregnancy leave or quit her job altogether to raise the baby at home. This lessened the amount of women in the workforce. The pill allowed women to choose whether or not they wanted to have children while providing them with added health benefits. The pill was more accessible than earlier forms of contraception, but today it is still significantly easier for men to gain contraception than women. For example, men can go to any drugstore and purchase a pack of condoms. It is cheap and private. Women have to go through a medical provider to get a prescription, which in the past may or may not have been covered by their health care. For forms of birth control that are not the pill, multiple appointments may be required. Today, there are several more options for female contraceptives, such as the IUD, implants, NuvaRing, female condom, and diaphragm. The pill is still the most popular and one of the most effective methods. 62% of all women of reproductive age are using some form of contraception, and nearly half of those women are using the pill. Beyond preventing pregnancy, the pill has several other benefits, such as regulating the menstrual cycle, easing menstrual pain, reducing headaches, helping skin problems, and treating endometriosis. What is the biggest impact the birth control pill has had on American society? What opportunities does the pill provide women? It freed women to take control of the timing and frequency of when they might give birth, permitting them to obtain a full education and pursue the career they aspired to. What are some of the arguments against contraceptives? Some forms of contraception do not protect against sexually transmitted disease, so additional precautions, like a condom, must be taken. Some persons might object to the use of hormonal substances in some forms of contraception. What caused the need for new forms of birth control during the sexual revolution? The need revolved around something that was reliable and safe. How will they continue to evolve in the future? New forms of male contraception, perhaps the pill for men. How does public opinion differ from when the birth control pill was originally released to its standing today? Public opinion seems more polarized today along ideological lines, and it seems ironic that those that oppose government control of our lives seem okay with asking the government to control aspects of our private lives relating to reproductive health. For nearly 100 years, Planned Parenthood has promoted a common-sense approach to women's health and well-being based on respect for each individual's right to make informed, independent decisions about health, sex, and family planning. Nearly 1 in 5 women has chosen Planned Parenthood for healthcare at least once in her life. Margaret Sanger was the founder of Planned Parenthood and an early champion of birth control. As stated on the Planned Parenthood website, during Sanger's time, women could not vote, sign contracts, have bank accounts, or divorce abusive husbands. They could not control the number of children they have or obtain information about birth control because of the 1870s Comstock laws, which made contraception illegal and declared information about family planning and contraception obscene. In 1923, Sanger opened the Birth Control Clinical Research Bureau in Manhattan to provide contraceptive devices to women and collect accurate statistics to prove their safety and long-term effectiveness. That same year, Sanger incorporates the American Birth Control League, an ambitious new organization that embraces the global issues of world population growth, disarmament, and world famine. The two organizations subsequently merged and later became Planned Parenthood, Federation of America Incorporated. A quote from Margaret Sanger summarizes her beliefs. Birth control is the first important step women must take toward the goal of her freedom. It is the first step she must take to be man's equal. It is the first step they must both take toward human emancipation.